Sure, you get him laughing before
just
he's
as the
even...
cue comes in, Tony makes a comment. That's awesome.
That's why he gets fired.
Love it.
That's why he's fired.
No, he's not fired. He wins immunity again for that one because that was good.
15 minutes. Yay!
So, as you can tell, we're already off and running. My sports fans and fellow nerd people. You welcome yet again to some more monkey business. Apparently, we got started early, even before the recording began.
Barely.
This is your
laugh.
Your host with the most, Chris, the man, the myth, the legend in my own mind.
Mine too.
Yes. Oh, thank you so much, Billy.
What mind?
Do you guys need a moment?
We're having a bromance. Leave it.
I'm with.
Does that mean I have to put my shirt back on?
Yes.
Yes, please.
It's okay.
I thought you lost that mind a while ago.
Oh yeah, Jesus, Mary and Joseph. I'm telling you,
14 years ago.
my brain was fried. Oh
It
yes,
was longer than that.
That voice is my 14-year-old son, so he's doing the math and figuring out it was his fault. That's good. I like that.
It really wasn't.
He's sitting there all stone faced. He's like, wait, that backfired on me.
How long have you known Dan?
How long have I known Dan? 32 years.
Maybe. Never mind.
Yeah. So it's the same for me and Brian, too,
Yeah,
32.
we had our minds back then. I don't know for how long after.
We survived high school. That's all that matters to me. All right, so as always, it's hi.
Should I hit this? Let's try again.
Take 2. Hi, everybody. This is your smooth talking. Oh, God, yes.
With that raspy voice.
So, Billy.
Are you ready?
Yes, Venus flytrap.
So for Billy, Tanya,
He can't even
Tony,
do the
Ian,
ending
Brian,
now.
and Dee, congratulations.
Tongue twister. Billy, Tanya,
There we go.
Thank you for listening.
Get me off the hook.
Oh, Billy's on fire today.
Dee.
We're not even off the rails. We're not even on the rails.
No, I don't think the
we
car made
start-
it on the rails to
Yeah,
begin
we
with.
started off.
I think we're somewhere in the deep space.
There it is. Wow. Take 3.
Ooh, new music.
Deep from the beta quadrant.
All
Just
right.
deeper in.
Oh, just deeper in. Can we start?
Further than Krypton.
I think so. So as we tried to say, and I failed miserably at on several occasions, this has been Monkey Business. Has been. Was maybe.
Will be.
There's
Maybe.
There it is. It's going to be one of those days.
okay.
Our listeners are going to be so confused today. They're like, is this a podcast? Is this not a podcast? What's
In my
going
defense, I'm at the tail end of a chest cold, so I haven't been
on?
sleeping
You think
very
that's
well.
going to save you at this point?
I'm on
right
a lot
now?
of medication to try and help me feel better. And this is, I don't care if it's going to save me or not. I'm just trying to let people know where I stand on things right now.
I told you I would be able to host today, but you were like, no, I got to do it.
No, I
You
got
gotta
this.
do it. Yeah. Uh-huh.
I got this.
You know what? I think we should discuss what superhero could save this show right now.
I don't think any of them could at this point. I don't
Wonder
even,
Twins.
They're
Wonder
running
Twins.
away
How about
from
the
the
Flash
show.
be fast enough to go
Go
back to the
back.
past and change
back in
it?
time and start
I
things
do
over.
Flashpoint and then start it all over.
That's
but,
awesome.
But you want to let people know who's
Maybe
here
that's
today?
the reason why it's broken.
Okay. In the studio.
In the
We have the
studio,
legendary Billy
Billy.
DeTore on the board. At the other end, we have Brian. Pow! We have our intern, Tony.
Hi, guys.
And we
Ow.
have Chris that's trying to pick himself up off the floor.
No, I'm done. Stick a fork in me. It's over.
And Chris's son, Ian, is in the studio with
Howdy
us
do.
today.
He's a man.
We have the absolutely
Child.
wonderful woman on the phone.
Legend of stage and screen. Deanna Schulmerich.
Hey guys, what's going on?
Oh, as you can tell,
And I am trying to take over for Christopher.
you go right ahead.
Okay.
I'm going to have
I'm
fun.
Tanya.
I'm going to have fun going, oh my God.
I'm not telling
So
you.
today, I think we're talking about superheroes, and Brian's definitely trying to figure out what superhero could save this podcast today, and could be any number of them. The Flash, definitely, to go back in time and restart this all.
Superman quit his job listening to this.
And we just send the legends back to fix it.
There you go.
Watch
then
out for
they
the,
lose the Spear
what
of
is it,
Destiny.
the Legion of Doom.
Yeah.
Did
know,
you finish that?
I'm a little bummed. I have not watched any of the CW shows in 2017
So
so
let's
far.
spoil them all for you.
Yeah, I
Let's do
wouldn't
it.
put that past you. I wouldn't.
Wow.
I mean, I got some catch-up time to do soon.
You do. When can you binge?
Well, it's probably not going to be until they all come out on Netflix or something at this stage because, like, only a certain amount of episodes
So they're on CW.
are on CW at any given moment in time. So I know I've lost access to the first couple of the year.
Yeah.
So I'll have to wait until they're all on the services, and then I can go ahead and just binge watch them. Probably this, like, after the convention.
I'm never ahead of you on TV shows, and I'm up to
You're
date.
often ahead of me on
Now I
television
am
shows.
with the CW.
Like
and
you knew
things
what was going. I haven't watched Agents of Shield in a couple of years, and you were like way ahead of me on that.
Oh
one.
yeah, I'm still not too thrilled with
I
Agents
could
of Shield
start
right now,
binging after my
but
Druids
Ward's back.
110.
Oh, jeez. I got to catch up on that one.
Yes, Ward's back.
Ward left.
Like Good Guy Ward.
Good guy Ward.
Really?
Huh.
Yes, because right now they're in the framework, so they're all hooked up to these machines and stuff. So
They're like pulling a
so
Matrix.
spoilers.
Is it like
yeah,
a Matrix thing?
I think so. I don't know.
Okay.
Well, we're in
So like
warning
Daisy
notice.
doesn't have her powers. She's actually Sky.
Oh my stars!
And
Welcome to the first season of.
and May is actually it's all Hydra, except for Ward is Hydra, but he is
I'm lost
Coulson's
'cause
a teacher.
I stopped. I
Yeah.
haven't watched since like the middle of the whole Ghost Rider thing. So
Oh, yeah.
I'm,
Yeah, that's
This
about where I
is,
dropped.
I dropped
Life,
right before then.
This was LMD, Life Model Decoy. Is this whole
Oh,
series?
right.
So it's all decoys. They're all like androids that were coming in from
Interesting.
the
Oh.
Dr. Radcliffe stuff.
Is it like Is it like the Wonderful Life?
I don't know.
I don't think so.
I'm not sure.
All right.
But yeah,
We'll have
it
to see.
just restarted up this past week. Well, you guys are going to be hearing this probably late April, early
Mm.
May, but when we're recording this, it's
Mm-hmm.
early April.
Right.
So
And then of course the CW shows I've dropped off of, and I missed that because those were all really good, like Flash and Arrow and Legends and what am I missing? Supergirl.
that's the one I like. I've only seen a couple episodes of Supergirl. I haven't watched that one.
Supergirl's my favorite.
It really is good.
Yeah.
I think
thought
they've done a
Riverdale
really
was your
good job with it.
The superhero shows.
Oh,
the
okay.
DC
Because we're talking
superheroes.
about superheroes,
Yeah.
not just CW.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. And then, recently, because I've been laid up sick at home, I've finally gotten a chance to start watching Iron Fist on Netflix.
Oh yeah.
And I know that's got mixed reviews. A lot of people have been kind of tanking it, and others have been like, well, it's all... The most,
It's okay.
The most positive review I've heard so far was, in essence, it was okay. So nobody's been bowled over by Iron Fist, I've
There have
noticed.
been a couple above average episodes, and the rest are
Just mediocre.
just keep me going to the next Marvel show.
Right.
Because
Well,
all
just
tie in.
Defenders, right?
So is the OCD completest of the group.
Yeah.
It took me, I watched the first 8 or 9 episodes the first weekend, and I just had to fight myself to
get all the way to the end.
to get the last 2 episodes yesterday morning.
Oh, and
I think-
I watched episode 9 this morning, so I have 10 through 13 left to go, and I've just finding same thing that some of them are like ooh action, but then
But even
and
the
then-
action seems I'm overly choreographed. It's
Well,
The
it's
fight
too
scenes
pretty.
don't feel as
and
organic
and
as
to
Daredevil
pull
did.
all your chi
Yeah.
in 30 seconds to
Yeah.
light up your hand. Okay.
Hey, Danny Rand just seems too easily overtaken by random security guards and hospital orderlies and anyone
And
else.
that duel that he had to do.
He yells at Colleen for her students almost getting the jump on her, and yet
And how many times has he been jumped?
he gets regularly beat up.
Yeah, it's like I said, the fight scenes has not felt to have as organic as Daredevil's did.
Yeah.
Now I have not seen Luke Cage yet, and I know that's not lack of desire. I've wanted to see it as its timing and in the way things have worked together. So I'm hoping to binge Luke Cage after I'm done.
I
with
liked Luke
Iron
Cage
Fist.
better as a show, although the pacing on that was a little off. It should have
was a
been.
little-
It should have been maybe 3 episodes shorter.
And I'd say the same about Iron Fist. I think they just dragged on a little bit too long on a few things.
Well, it seems to be the new paradigm is these 13 episode series. With Doctor Who does the 13. I know a couple of other British shows do 13. Game of Thrones has always been 10, hasn't it? Game of Thrones, their series is 10 per season.
I don't
know.
know.
There's just the
think
new
so.
paradigm. I'm trying to move away from. I'm sorry, Dee. What was that?
I think Game of Thrones is 10.
Yeah, Game of Thrones is 10. So keeping the shorter seasons, but I think with Daredevil, they kind of Netflix Marvel said we're going to go for 13.
But Daredevil held up with
It did.
13, as did Jessica Jones.
2
Both-
seasons of Daredevil
Yes. And they threw in Punisher, which they now announced is going to be another show. Punisher's
Elektra.
getting his own show.
now. And Elektra, they threw in Elektra.
Whereas Luke Cage, I thought
Yep.
was a good show, but a little too long.
Okay.
Iron Fist, I like this episode. Oh, I don't like this episode. I don't like Warden Joy in this episode. I don't care about Harold in this one.
The show is very bipolar.
Yeah.
I felt
It
like
is.
It is, but that's
the
a good.
entirety of the last episode just felt off. I'm going to leave it at that because
Okay.
I don't want to spoil anything.
Yeah, I'm only at
but it
episode
just
6
felt
right now.
off.
And I'm at 10. Yes, you're right about Game of Thrones. They've had 10 episodes per season, except for season 7, which is coming out. They're only having 7 episodes.
Right, and then there's going to be 6 in the
People are
final.
up in arms about that. They're really not happy about that.
Well, you got to understand that there's only so much story left to tell, and you don't want to. I think what they're trying to do is the Game of Thrones producers are consciously saying, we're running out of story here. We don't want to stretch it out just to fill episodes, because that's something we've talked about in several podcasts, like especially our whole conversation about classic Doctor Who. As recently as last week, we were talking about classic Doctor Who and how, the classic series, they were trying to fill a lot of time. So there's just a lot of walking around and a lot of following it. And you don't want to get stuck into that trap, or, what's going to happen if they stretched it out to a 10-season episode for those last 2 of Game of Thrones. People are going to look back at it and go, wow, that was really not that good. It didn't end well.
My dad...
It's not the TV producer's fault. It's the fact that George R.R. Martin won't write anything.
And
well, it's not that he won't. He's taking his own sweet time.
The stories via the TV show. He's not going to write the last book.
Is that official? Has he said that?
I think that's what it is, that he's finishing the story through the Game of Thrones
through the TV series. That's amazing.
Yeah, that he's not going to write
and then
that.
have somebody else write the novelization.
I think he'll wind up writing it because money talks, and it's another way he can make, after the fact, he can write the book.
But don't forget, he is, older.
Mm-hmm. Well, he's been one foot in the grave for how long now? 20 years?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So, all right.
My dad was watching Black Sails on HBO.
That's a series I want to get into eventually.
It's a pretty good series. Just ended. They actually released a statement saying, "This is going to be the last season. We've only made 2, and that's because there's only so much we can do before the story ends." Mm-hmm. Once they get because it's a prequel to Treasure Island. Once they get the treasure on the island, there's not really much they could do.
Exactly. After that, it kind of starts fading, and I did not know that at first. I did watch the very first episode of Black Sails, and I was definitely intrigued by it. I mean, Hannah knew. Whew, holy cripe! I want to know what she knew. But then when you see that the hero kind of character is John Silver, that does not escape, that reference does not escape me at all. So yeah, I can, and that's the thing. I think like with Game of Thrones, they're kind of handcuffed because they're running out of things to say. The end is coming. It's near. It's happening. You don't want to cheap it. I mean, you could do probably a 10-episode final season, and then it would be too rushed. It's almost like what George Lucas did with the prequels of Star Wars with 1, 2, and 3. He had to get little boy Darth Vader to big boy Darth Vader, and he tried to pack all of this stuff in to make that happen. And so episodes 2 and 3 felt really kind of weird and overdone and too much.
Rushed.
Yeah, rushed. Thank you. Mm-hmm. So with Game of Thrones, you could probably pack everything in and close up shop after season 7. But then you would get that problem. So I think they're making a good move, in my opinion, where they're going to do 2 shortened seasons. It's going to give them a chance to tell a tight story, but it's also going to give them a chance to hit all of the points they want to hit without really screwing it over too much. And so that's our talk about CW TV shows today. And thank you.
Well, we initially were going to talk about just superheroes in general, and how female superheroes are coming into their own.
Yeah, that was an idea you had, Dee, wasn't it?
I think so. Long time ago.
Long time ago?
In a galaxy far, far away.
Yeah.
Oh, speaking of which, has anyone heard that they came out with a statement? Leia will appear in episode 9.
Oh, really?
Without CGI.
That was on our. We actually somebody, I think it may have been Dan, posted that on our page.
Our Facebook the other day.
Yeah, I saw that yesterday, and
how are they going to pull that off? It's just a lot of.
From what I understand, they're going to be doing a lot of. They're going to be cutting scenes from episode 7 and 8.
Okay.
And then manipulating them for her to give her lines in episode 9.
So there's going to be some digital manipulation, but it's not going to be a CGI resurrection like they did with Peter Cushing's character in Rogue One. Okay. All right. Well,
I'm looking forward to that. I mean, I'm obviously a huge Princess Leia fan, huge Carrie Fisher fan.
Yeah. Well, we had a whole podcast
really
talking about it.
Interesting to see how they do this.
And and that's an option we didn't anticipate, because when we first started talking about it a few months ago, we were like, how do you write her out, or how do you recast her? How do you do this? They came up with an option C that we didn't expect, so that's kind of cool. Hey, if they think
That's
they can
why
do
they
it,
make the big bucks.
That's seriously. Well, if they think they can pull it off, I'm all about it. That's cool.
And it's a good way of appeasing both sides of the fans.
That's true.
Yeah.
That's true. Yeah, and that's a hard thing to deal with anyway. I mean, like I said in that podcast, it was a no-win situation for him.
Yeah.
So, all right, that's cool. So, what other heroes do we want to talk about today? I mean, what's coming up? Wonder Woman is still on the horizon. Spider-Man is on the horizon.
I cannot wait for that.
That's going to be awesome.
Which one's Spider-Man or Wonder Woman?
Wonder Woman.
Wonder Woman, yeah. That looks really, really good.
I really hope it. I hope it doesn't disappoint. The trailer.
DC hasn't made a good movie yet.
I'm
They've
going
made
to
good
hold
trailers.
judgment. I don't want to. I don't want to overhype myself for a DC movie at this point, unless it's an animated movie. Those are always fairly
the animated movie's always been pretty good.
Judas Contract is coming out pretty soon. I'm excited for that.
Is that Teen Titans?
Yes.
Yeah.
I hear that's great, actually.
Yeah, a lot of people have been very positive about it.
The next one I think coming out is Guardians of the Galaxy.
Ooh.
May 4th.
Yes, it's actually coming out the week before the convention.
And I bought my ticket already. They're doing a double feature on May 4th. The first movie starts at 4:30, followed by the premiere of the second movie at 7 o'clock.
Outstanding.
Oh, wow.
So,
That is going to be cool.
I've already got my seats. And that, to me, is one of the big surprises because I don't know anybody that read Guardians of the Galaxy comics.
No, but I want a baby Groot.
My dad actually has the original set from when they did their first little miniseries release.
Good.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
That movie was just so much fun and charming and
Absolutely.
funny and exciting.
It hit all the right marks. It was
Yeah.
good.
Yeah, so May is Guardians of the Galaxy. June is Wonder Woman and Transformers.
Why do we think that Guardians won? Why do we think that was so successful? My theory is that because it wasn't fully tied into anything else.
People.
It surprised people because it wasn't fully tied. They had a little more freedom. They could do a little bit more.
There was definitely comic relief in there.
There was a
too.
lot of comic relief.
I feel like the soundtrack helped to make the movie.
Oh my god!
Absolutely.
I cannot wait for the soundtrack for this one.
I think are they keeping the soundtrack a secret for the new one?
Oh yeah, they're doing it intentionally.
Yeah,
absolutely.
I think that was such a surprise because sorry, where was it? Like I said, people in general, I don't think read Guardians of the Galaxy, and as a nerd, I get so wrapped up in the minutia of Superman and Batman and Spider-Man that I went into Guardians of the Galaxy with no expectations,
right?
Other than there's a talking raccoon and a tree.
Ian, have you heard? Did you hear of Guardians of the Galaxy before the movie came out?
No, and that's what I was going to say. I think maybe because
Ian, your voice changed.
Go
ahead, D.
Deanna.
Go ahead, D. Take it away.
That's okay.
I think because people didn't know about it, there was no expectation.
Yeah, which is what Billy was touching on. Absolutely. I mean, that's just a great thing. When your expectations are not ramped up, like people right now, a lot of folks didn't know about Iron Man all that much other than he existed, and then here comes Robert Downey Jr. as Iron Man, and boom, now he's the biggest character ever. If you do an Iron Man 4, people are going to have a certain expectation level.
See, in the first Guardians, you've got the first scene, the heartwarm or the sort of touching, sad where Peter's mom dies, and then next thing you know, Chris Pratt's dancing to "Come and Get Your Love."
There it is.
Yeah,
as he's walking through the ruins.
April 28th, the Awesome Mix Volume 2 will be revealed. Released. Yes.
So by the time you hear this podcast,
a week before the movie comes out, the music soundtrack will be out.
So when I go into these movies, I think I have an advantage because I haven't been big into the comics, so that I don't have a preconceived notion. But even when I am familiar with the background in the comics, I try to go in with a clean slate because they have to try to tell a new story.
Exactly.
I think if they're just going to rehash what's in there, why bother making the movie? I mean, even when you take a book and make a movie out there, you're always changing something because
to put your own spin on it.
You're trying to put your own spin and keep it fresh and give people a reason to go see, okay, what did they do differently? But I find it interesting, going back to kind of one of our original topics, the female superheroes, that I think in many ways DC and with the CW in particular, and with Wonder Woman coming out, has done a much better job of promoting those female superheroes. Because I mean, maybe the Flash and Arrow are not named after the series are not named after female superheroes, but there's definitely
A stronger
huge
presence.
of female superheroes in those. And then you got the Legends is a combination, and then Supergirl obviously
Is her thing.
And Legends is led by Sarah Lance.
which
That's right, because Rip Hunter disappeared or something like
Yes.
that. I have not been
So now
following the
she's
show, I'm sad
captain.
to say. So she's the captain
Yeah,
of the
she's
ship
the
at the moment.
captain.
That's cool.
It is
And-
cool.
Yeah, and I think that's probably one of the things that Marvel's kind of skipped or maybe dropped the ball on. I mean, they've had this great character with Scarlett Johansson's Black Widow, but they've kind of pigeonholed her into being the ultimate support character. Like, she glues a lot of movies together with her presence, and that's great. But it doesn't really give her a chance to tell her story in a really truly effective way.
In the Marvel universe, cinematic universe, I can only really think from the movies. I can only really think of three female characters: Scarlett Johansson's Black Widow, the person who plays Scarlet Witch,
Elizabeth Olsen,
and Gamora.
okay, and
Zoe
that's Zoe
Saldana.
Saldana, yeah.
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 Well, and then you have to pop over to what is Sony and look at a couple of the X-Men. They had a couple that had
Oh, Logan. Logan was fantastic.
I still haven't seen Logan yet.
I highly recommend it.
The little girl who plays X-23 is fantastic.
Yes.
If she
She's
doesn't
a
get
natural.
recognized for that performance,
She has a bright future ahead of her, assuming she does well.
because I mean, at her age and the way she performed in that movie, I know that it's not the type of movie that usually gets nominated for Oscars.
but
but
How long she could go without talking?
as a child, but the way she
but-
portrayed the character without speaking, it was amazing. Sorry for any spoilers there.
No, that's all right.
No, but
You haven't
her,
given any.
Hugh Jackman and Patrick Stewart, I thought
Those
were all
three were
phenomenal.
Yeah, they were.
It was
and I hope
fantastic.
there's some recognition there. It also hurts the time of year that the movie came out. when
Yeah,
you're talking
beginning
about-
of the year
Yeah.
is never good for Oscar consideration.
What do you think,
Yeah.
buddy? You and I going to go see Logan after this?
Yeah, sure.
We'll just
Don't be so excited.
He's like, yeah, whatever.
Yeah, okay. And
Yeah.
actually,
All right,
Yeah,
now I'm
Dad,
thinking
whatever
of-
you want to do.
Yeah.
All I'm thinking about right now is food. I'm sorry.
it just came out within
Teenage
the last
boys.
couple weeks that Joss Whedon's in talks to make a Batgirl movie.
Seriously?
Yeah.
Really?
Oh,
Yeah.
wow.
All right.
Now
That would be
you
interesting.
put his name on that, I
Yeah.
think that would succeed.
That would definitely.
Especially with his success with Buffy.
Buffy and
Yeah.
Dollhouse. Well, Dollhouse wasn't successful, but
His
Dollhouse
success
was
with
interesting.
But-
his success
It
with
was good.
Firefly,
yeah, yeah.
crickets.
Well, but cult success.
Yeah,
let's not
absolutely.
get
It
to
definitely hasn't gone away.
You say those names and people automatically recognize them.
Yeah, I mean, Joss Whedon is great at character development and building the story. When Joss Whedon goes wrong, it's because usually somebody above him has gotten their fingers into it and has forced him into a corner he doesn't want to be in. I mean, Fox botched Firefly. It's not Joss Whedon's fault. And
In many ways, they didn't even show the episodes in the order they were meant to
exactly
be shown in.
Exactly, and they also, I mean, I'd say what was it was Age of Ultron was the second one, yeah,
Yes.
of the second Avengers movie. It was not as good as it could have been, and I know it was because there was production
Yeah,
interference
he's
from above.
hamstrung on a lot of stuff.
Yeah, when they're like, well, we know this is going to be big, and he's like, but that's not part of the story, and they said, we don't care, we want you to do this, and that, so you shove him into a corner, and that's what's going to happen.
Joss Whedon does best when Joss Whedon's allowed to be Joss Whedon.
Exactly, and so Joss Whedon doing Batgirl, I think, is going to be phenomenal. That's going to be a good
Assuming
combination.
he's allowed to be Joss Whedon.
You know what? DC doesn't have anything left to lose.
Yeah, I was
Yeah.
going to say, what do they have to lose? Go
Seriously.
ahead, here, have at it.
They're getting shot left, right, and center by people who are making commentary.
When their
and
best movie is Suicide Squad, and the best reviews of that movie is it was okay.
That's all right.
What'd you think of Suicide Squad, Ian?
I haven't watched it.
I thought you did.
No.
You didn't see that one?
Ian, I would tell you, it's a very entertaining movie.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But-
just turn off your brain when you walk in the door.
Yeah, but the problem is they just tried to pack so much into the one movie, and that's DC's problem
Again,
all the time
rushed.
in their movies.
But that wasn't even as good
Yeah.
a turn off your brain movie as the recent King Kong movie. To me, Kong, Skull Island.
I like that one,
That
too.
was just a lot of fun.
I will have to see
That's
that
my
one soon.
favorite.
I've
Just sit
actually
back
heard
and
a
watch
lot
it,
of
that's all.
mixed reviews from it.
To me, Kong, when you got just big monsters punching each other, that's all I need. You know, Samuel Jackson and John C. Reilly and John Goodman, all really good. Brie Larson, excellent cast, doing a fine job.
Here's
But when
my
you got
thing.
Kong and a big squid just fighting, I'm good.
Here's my thing. Why is every big studio trying to be Marvel? Because Kong and Godzilla are trying to build each other up for a.
They're building a universe.
For a universe,
Yeah.
and so is DC.
reason. I mean, there's an easy answer to your question.
Money.
One word, money. Yeah,
Money,
absolutely.
Money.
Like, I want a nice standalone movie. Like, what was it? Arrival. Arrival was a good movie.
I haven't seen it yet.
I haven't seen that. Was that the one with Amy Adams?
It was the one with
Jeremy
aliens
Renner.
who come to
Right.
the Earth and then
Right? Jeremy
Yeah.
Renner's in it.
Yeah, Amy Adams.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so I know what you're going for. Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Jeremy's doing
You look at
called,
Hawkeye. I'm gonna look at the
Nightfall.
redhead. It's all good.
A new one, new series or movie.
He's doing a new.
Nightfall.
Okay, I hadn't heard of that. That's barely the end of that
Crickets?
conversation too.
Crickets.
Oh, actually, I should pull up a cricket.
adding to our repertoire of
But
songs.
just like looking at the, because
me.
we've talked about this before, the number of movies that are coming out in 2017, 2018, and beyond is just amazing.
There's going to be a Star Wars movie for the rest of my life, and I'm okay with that.
Yeah, same here. Really.
Blade
Wait
Runner
a minute, aren't you the same guy
2049.
who just said you want a standalone movie?
You got me there.
And fired again.
All right, buddy. There it is.
There it is.
I wasn't sure if that was feedback.
Oh,
It's bad crickets. I got to
Bad,
find
bad,
better
crickets. Bad
crickets.
crickets.
So I'm looking at this, and it says Thor Ragnarok in November. So is Hulk going to be in it? Because
Yes.
Mark
Yes.
Ruffalo is in there?
Yes.
Yes.
They're actually going to
And,
make references to the Planet Hulk storyline.
Isn't that why
And,
Hulk
Doctor
disappeared? Thor
Strange,
took him to. Yeah.
Because Benedict's in there, so I'm guessing Doctor Strange.
Yes.
is in
Wait,
it.
are they going to have Beta Ray Bill?
It's
What does
possible.
Carl Urban play?
Ooh.
Carl Urban in the Marvel universe?
Dr. Bones McCoy.
Yeah.
Yes, well, yeah, I know that in
I
Star
don't
Trek,
think-
but in the
Damn it,
Marvel
Jim!
universe.
I don't think
I'm a
he's-
doctor, not a superhero.
I don't know.
I love Carl Urban. I don't know, but he's
got a
in
part
there.
in-
Ray Stevenson and Jeff Goldblum.
Ray Stevenson is one of the Warriors 3. I know that much. He's the big fat one.
I love the
We're
description.
sorry if there's anyone takes offense
Chris, I
to that
resemble that
description.
remark.
He's been cast as Scourge, the Asgardian warrior.
okay. Okay.
Who, Carl
The-
Urban?
Yeah. Carl Urban's going to be
So,
Scourge. Scourge is the
who's Jeff
Enchantress's.
Goldblum?
And Jeff Goldblum's one of the Eternals.
He's the Fly.
Well, yeah,
He's always going to be the Fly.
and he's going to be in Independence Day.
Again?
No, it's just that the Fly Independence Day.
Okay.
That's Jeff Goldblum. Never
right.
mind.
Jurassic Park.
Go back to sleep, Christopher.
Yes, dear.
Jeff Goldblum is cast as Tulka.
Hey, that's one of the Eternals, I thought, like right along the line of Benicio del Toro's character.
There we go.
They're the Eternals.
Carl Urban.
These really
is
bored
Scourge,
immortals.
The Executioner, one of Asgard's greatest warriors. But who is the Grandmaster? You'll realize that Jeff Goldblum is a beautiful and inspired choice to play him. The Grandmaster? Is that right?
I think so.
I don't know.
Sounds about right.
Okay.
I got
Should
a
be
question for all you guys.
Fire away, D.
I'm not really into all of those shows like you guys are. I'll catch them once in a while if there's nothing else on.
She's fired.
I wasn't going to say anything. She's your
You knew her first. I'll rehire her later.
she's your best friend, man.
I know.
All right, let's let her finish her statement or question.
Go D.
Why do you guys think all of a sudden it is just the TV networks and the movies and the production companies have seized on these things that have been around since we were kids, since our parents were kids, and decided to really just keep hitting on making them into TV shows and movies and you know, why are they not bringing them back, but why are they doing them?
I think Brian said it best, money.
Well, and to expand on that a little bit, I think with all the competition out there for your entertainment viewing nowadays, I mean, God, you can watch thousands upon thousands of channels or streaming networks. Networks and are afraid to take a chance on something new because it might not work.
I was
and
just
they'll be
thinking
spending a
that.
lot of money on something that isn't going to work. They'd rather take something that they know has worked in the past and rehash it. And I think that's a big part of the problem. And it's the reason why we're always acting. Can't we create a new idea in this country? And it's one of the things that I like about British television so much better is that
Because they're
they
not
do
afraid
take a
of it.
chance and try to do something
I mean,
different.
as I was pondering Deanna's question, It's snuck into my brain that my wife is currently binge watching Elementary, the Sherlock Holmes show with Lucy Liu and John Lee Miller,
which is pretty good.
and it's a good show, and I've been catching some of it as Susan's watching it. But I'm thinking I like the Benedict Cumberbatch
Sherlock
version
is better.
But the Elementary seems more palatable, maybe to people who don't want. Well, Sherlock's also 90 minutes an episode, with 3 episodes each. So Elementary works better as episodic TV, but it's sort of characters and ideas that Americans, people. I'm not sure which.
It's playing to the culture.
Yeah.
How many British shows have we Americanized?
Well, The Office.
Several.
People in this country think it's a new idea, but
Going
it's
back-
something we've stolen.
Going back to All in the
Family
Family,
show.
yeah, and Sanford and Son.
Yep.
Yep.
The Office
you know what, I
UK,
think what-
The Office US, Being Human UK, Being Human US.
There it is, yeah.
I'd love to see the British hee-haw.
You know, and
Welcome to Scotland, hee-haw.
that's probably a good setting for it. You know, a nuance of it is that back like in the 80s and the 90s when a superhero comic book show or made-for-TV movie would pop up, it was B-list. You could tell the production value and whatnot. It was throwaway stuff just to kind of give you something to do, and maybe it'll make a couple of bucks along the way.
Mystery Science
Theater,
Theater.
3000, yeah, especially it made an industry.
Well, it seems it's come to the forefront of our culture again, or just like that nerdom or the geekdom is now to the forefront.
The age of the people watching TV are the people that grew up.
With those comics.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And
The demographic was right for it.
Super Friends was on Saturday mornings type thing.
I mean, growing up, it was like sitcom central.
Yeah.
Now it's like you can't find a sitcom on TV.
Well,
Unless it's about geeks and nerds.
Yeah.
and
Right,
everything
like
we're
Big Bang
talking
Theory.
yeah.
Right.
You know,
so,
like back in the 80s and 90s, you had the Christopher Reeve Superman movies and the Batman movies. Those were the big superhero movies. And then what happened is it had a moment to open the genre up.
And actually, Christopher Reeve movies started in 76 or 77.
Right, yeah.
So
Just
by
as
the
Star Trek
time-
was coming back to
so
the
by the
big
time
screen.
that the Michael Keaton Batman showed up, Superman was done.
But that's the thing, too, is I think what happened is that Superman, the series, was good for 2 movies and then bad for 2.
Yeah.
And so where it had a chance to open the door and make this kind of a genre more popular.
Although TV kept Superman alive with
Dean Cain.
with Lois and
Smallville.
Clark, and then Smallville. Yeah.
Yeah. You know, it felt to me that like there was a rise and a fall, and just as this genre was about to like explode, something happened. Like with Batman, you had as soon as Michael Keaton stepped down as Batman, and it got handed and it went from Tim Burton to Joel Schumacher. You know, and all of a sudden the next Batman movies were all they were pitiful.
And the Val Kilmer's not bad.
It wasn't
He's
bad.
easy to look
but
at.
It just well,
He's an
agreeing with
he's a forgettable Batman.
Are we talking about bat nipples?
No, that's George
don't even
Clooney.
start with that, please. Please, Tony.
but you know, just as it was
think I
about
have
to
to
be
fire
taken
him.
seriously, it went south.
Yeah.
And I think that, you know, with Clooney's Batman movie,
The Clooney one
He's easy
tried
to
to
look at,
play
too.
both sides of the street with
And-
the cheesiness of the TV show, but the seriousness of the Michael Keaton.
and then it got plowed right down. You know, it just got mowed over, and I think that killed the kind of the genre for a little while.
Nice to meet you.
I think that was the line I was going to bring. If that movie stays in people's conscience, for one thing, it's "Ice to meet you."
Everybody chill.
Ugh.
I want to see the Lego Batman movie. That's what I want to see.
I've heard that was actually pretty good for for what it was.
Am I the only one that didn't like the first Lego movie?
Everything is awesome.
No, I thought it was fun.
It was
Ian,
it was
Everything
shameless
is awesome.
marketing.
Wake him up real quick. Ian, did you saw the first Lego movie, right? We took you to that.
Yeah.
it
What
was
did you think of it?
You, me, Tyler, and Jules.
Overwhelming.
And
Overwhelming.
Ian.
Was there too much going on?
Yeah.
All right.
I don't know. Every time my kids watch it, I fall asleep halfway through. So
It
With the
wasn't-
Craigle?
It wasn't rushed. It was too much.
There's too
thought.
much.
It was high production value marketing. Which was which proves that you can make a good movie, which means you can make an okay movie based purely on marketing.
It was a hyperactive movie.
Oh yeah,
It was.
it was
yeah.
definitely geared towards children, and very
it's as
active
hyperactive
humans.
as Wall-E was slow. Wall-E.
Wall-E.
Wall-E was the best. I don't care about anything else.
Wall-E was your movie, huh?
Yes,
That's your
it
jam,
was.
buddy. What was it about that movie that caught your attention?
The adorable robot that picks up trash.
Is that little white one?
It's
No,
my-
that's Wally himself.
Oh,
You know,
But people in that movie, critics, social commentators thought that the idea of fat people riding around getting everything handed to them was bad. That's awesome.
would you like that?
Yes.
Okay.
I just want to stay in my chair and get handed hot fudge sundaes.
That's called a
funny.
nursery.
I'm in.
Nursing
Let's see
home.
how well that works out for you this afternoon.
Okay.
Oh,
Yeah,
boy.
I don't know.
All right, so what else do we have on the future in the horizon? I know Marvel's got its sleeves up and they're
Justice
working away.
League.
I don't think Marvel's making Justice
No,
League.
no. Well, just say
DC is.
upcoming superheroes movie.
Spider-Man Homecoming soon. Isn't
I'm
it?
looking forward
yeah.
to that one
Was
because
that-
Spider-Man's
that's
always
July,
been my guy.
Right?
I think so.
I love Spider-Man.
Let me see upcoming Marvel.
I hope they do.
movies.
And I get an idea. Tom Holland's going to do this one right.
I think so. Like I like the first two of the Tobey Maguire movies.
Yeah,
We've
third
talked
one went
about
off
that.
the rails.
Third one was terrible. Both of the Amazing Spider-Man.
The way that they're leading into this from the last Avengers movie, Civil War, I like the way that they kind of built this Spider-Man up. So I'm
Yeah.
looking
I'm
forward
very
to it.
happy with the fact that I feel like I can relate to Peter on a like.
because he's
For
now
crying
like
out
a
loud, he's your
teen.
age.
He's my age. I could see myself doing a lot of the stuff he's doing, other than the web
The
slimming
wall crawling, yeah.
and the
that's-
wall crawling.
Because if you can do that, then we have to talk.
Kind of helps too.
Spider-Man in the new movie. Who's
That's
who's
Tom
the-
Holland
Tom
is his
Holland.
name.
Was he the one that was in?
Yeah, he was in Civil War.
Okay.
The same kid.
And he acted how I would act in that situation. It was hilarious.
He kind of does something for me in this movie too. What do you think, Chris?
Marissa
Aunt May.
Tomei?
Yeah, Marissa
Aunt
Tomei
May,
playing
yeah.
Aunt May.
Aunt May, yeah.
Yeah, that's. I want to know who Uncle Ben was then.
Aunt May needs a job, so Aunt May.
Well, see, Aunt May needed a job, so she went off and she started The Wrestler.
Okay, so we have Spider-Man, we have Thor Ragnarok that we talked about.
Thanks for the save.
In February of next year, we have Black Panther.
Okay.
In May, Avengers Infinity War.
Oh, that's
Infinity
perfect
War.
timing.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it is.
Is it gonna be a
and then
long
July
movie?
is Ant-Man and the Wasp.
Wow,
of
okay.
2018.
They're really packing him in.
December of 2018 is an animated Spider-Man movie. March 8th, of 2019 is Captain Marvel.
See, and that's the one I'm looking forward to because I've been a Captain Marvel fan on and off for a couple of years now.
Let's see if we can not have a windstorm or a major snowstorm on when Captain Marvel comes out.
You mean your birthday's been
Yes.
cursed lately, weather-wise?
Yes.
Yes, Tanya's birthday has been cursed weather-wise lately.
May 3rd, 2019, Avengers 4. It's Infinity War Part 2, but the title is still
Up in the air.
Up in the air. July 5th, 2019, the Spider-Man sequel to Homecoming. And then May 1st, July 10th, and November 6th of 2020 are 3 untitled Marvel
So
movies.
2020, we don't know what we're getting from Marvel.
No.
I have a
But is
question.
the Batman standalone completely off the
I
books
think
now
it's-
with Ben Affleck out?
No, there's some.
It's
oh,
hanging
yeah,
on. It's on life
standalone,
support
yes.
right now.
It's
The standalone Batman.
Justice League are the Batman
Okay.
coming out right now.
I always thought the Batman standalone movie with Ben Affleck was on like life support,
the
but
one
not
that
dead
he
yet.
was going to direct. Yeah.
Question:
Yeah.
Who do we think are going to? Which characters do we think are going to die in Infinity War? Because I guarantee you, at least 3 or 4 are going to die.
Kenny.
He dies in every episode
Yes.
of South Park.
Yeah.
Iron Man.
I
would think so.
possibly.
I was going to say Iron Man too.
I mean, he's costing them a heck of a lot of money to be in the movies, and
Well, he's also he's been implying that he wants to tap out and hand it off.
yeah, he's been
I
teasing
think
with that.
how long
Chris
can
Evans is going to.
I think
tap out
Captain
as well.
America's done too.
how long can you keep these guys looking
That
the
young
age
and
that
hot.
you need them to be?
That's
as
the thing.
well, So
That's the thing. You got to tell the story based on the timeline, and so I think it's going to be Iron Man and Captain America. I've heard people say that it's probably going to be some other character. Hawkeye is on the list that
Yeah.
they talk
And
about
but
often.
then you can always rebirth them later on with a different backstory and a different person.
Well, the history of the
playing
comic
the
books
part,
with Captain America. I mean, many guys have put on the star and worn the shield. I mean,
Hasn't there been more than one Iron Man as well?
no, there's a new Iron. There's finally a
There
new
is
Iron
now,
Man,
right?
Yeah.
in the comic books.
Isn't it
Riri
a girl?
Williams. She's calling herself Iron Heart now.
Okay.
But
Isn't there
she's
War Machine?
Unfortunately, I'm not a big fan.
War Machine's always been kind of a separate, weird kind of
Oh,
a
yeah.
thing.
Well, they're
with the way-
bringing in new characters, like the younger
the younger characters
so they
in,
might
like Scarlet
be, like,
Witch and
starting the cycle over.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
With
Good
the
call.
way they've laid out the whole Tony Stark situation in the movies, it wouldn't be hard for him to take someone under his wing and
Teach them.
create the next Iron Man.
Yeah.
you know?
it could be that kid that was in one of the Iron Man movies.
Oh yeah, the little kid.
The little kid
in
that,
Iron Man
that had
3.
the that was in the farm or whatever.
Uh-huh.
that-
Yeah, no, that's
I
a
feel
good
like
tip.
he's taking Spider-Man under his wing, though. I
Yeah,
don't-
Spider-Man's not going to become Iron Man.
Obviously not, but
Iron Spider.
Yep.
that's actually an interesting idea.
Iron
though.
Spider.
Well,
Well, no, that's a thing. That's
we'll
actually
see
that was
how
a thing
far
that happened.
goes because I mean, eventually, I think Spider-Man's going to change his mind about the whole Accords situation, and I mean, if they follow the comic book storyline, anyways. So
I'm getting the hint from the trailers I've seen of Spider-Man: Homecoming is that Tony gets pissed at Peter, ganks the suit that he made for Peter, but Peter's going to soldier on and do his own thing anyway. So he may not have like Stark behind him as a mentor anymore towards the end of the movie, but he's still going to have that quintessential kind of Spider-Man thing happening. I don't know. That's just me. I'm not a professional at this.
Tony has a tendency to get mad at everybody.
Tony should be getting mad at himself a lot more than he does.
Tony gets fired a lot.
or pissing people off. I mean, one or the other. People getting mad at him or
It's his job.
Yeah. Yeah.
Tanya, pick up your mic.
Tiny's microphone went limp.
hello.
You could take that 2 ways.
Yeah. And that was the 14-year-old taking that one. He's my
took
son,
the
so what are you going to
wrong
want?
way.
On that note,
Okay.
Where are we on this one?
We're at
Billy?
hold on.
Like 30-some odd minutes.
That's
41.
We're at 41? 41's good.
I think 41's good.
41's good.
We're just looking forward to a lot of superhero movies.
We are. There's
Yeah.
a lot going on. And it's interesting to see how it has had effect on the culture, how the culture itself has changed and evolved.
Do you think it's overkill? Do you think that it's going to hit a saturation point and it's going to stop?
I do. I think it's going to eventually hit a spot, but right now I can't predict when that's going to be because they seem to be figuring out a pacing to it.
I
now.
feel like
as
it's
long as
starting
they have
to
do like
Yeah.
like 3
come
a
into
year.
a plateau.
If they try to put more in like more than like 3 a year
Yeah.
in, then it's going to be.
I think TV's going to hit a saturation point.
I'd say it's already
think,
there.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
think
I
that
think
is.
They should.
I think at least like Agents of Shield, they're like just pulling at different.
I haven't
storylines
watched
and things
Agents
like
of
that.
Shield or Gotham in years.
I can't. There's too many shows. You can't.
I think
you can't
Gotham got
physically watch
canceled.
them all unless you're just going to
No,
sit
I
in front of your
haven't heard
TV all day. I mean,
Well,
Yeah, well,
here's my take on it. It's gonna. I'm going to be very interested to see what Marvel does after Infinity War because you've culminated in this big bad thing. Everybody's going to have to take on Thanos. This is going to be this huge, climactic mega battle. And then what happens after that? I mean, are you gonna? Is it?
they're going to have a TV series called The Inhumans.
Well, that's an entirely different storyline. I mean, there's so many different characters in the Marvel universe, the DC universe, any comic book universe you go to. They're going to be plentiful with characters. It's going to be interesting to see what Marvel does after Infinity War. If they say, okay, we've blown the wad, and now what we're going to do is we're going to step back and we're going to start going back to character driven, like one-off stories here and there. Like when Captain Marvel comes in, you can take a whole different angle with what Brie Larson can do with the character. But what are the characters now going to be doing? I mean, are they all going to be building up towards the next big bad, the next Uber thing
I
that
don't
happens?
know if I like the whole building to an event. Sometimes you just want to watch one movie.
And
Right.
and that was
Not
the
worry
great thing about the original
yeah,
Iron Man is
yeah.
because it was just one movie. I mean, it could have stood alone and be done.
Yeah.
But it inexorably ended up being part of a bigger, huge buildup. It's like I said, I want to see what they do after Infinity Wars. If they throttle back and start talking about and doing little stories again that could stand alone and be fine, they're not building towards anything else, then that might help preserve the genre longer.
here's my. I think they're gonna step back and build a few of the newer characters. I mean, you talked about your Black Panthers,
Right.
And I think eventually down the line you're going to see those new characters become the new Avengers and go into some bigger stories. I mean, if they do it that way, I think I'm okay with it. But they do need to back off for a while.
Yeah, I think they need to throttle down a little bit just to make sure that they have longevity.
You can't oversaturate the market, and they're kind of almost to that point.
Yeah, I think so. All right. Well, we've said a lot, we've talked a lot, and we will talk again next week.
And Chris wants to hear his favorite music.
Yay!
And for Brian and for Dee and for Ian and Tony and for Tanya and Billy and me, I am Chris. This has been Monkey Business, a production of the Mighty Monkey Corporation, presenters of the Flower City Comic-Con, coming at you May 20th and 21st of 2017 at the Floriano, Rochester Riverside Convention Center. Like us on Facebook, www.facebook.com/FC3ROC. Spread the word and let them know. We're going to have ourselves some fun.
Yay!
Bid you all a farewell.
I wasn't just dancing to the music, guys. I'll see you later. I need to run to the